Hi everybody, and thanks for stopping by. I can explain. No, it is not some barbecue pitmaster cone of shame. It is the Vortex. Now, what the Vortex is a method of doing different things with a charcoal grill. I think you could use it for other things also on a gas grill or a smoker, but it's primarily, from what I understand, for charcoal grills. You have this sort of conical shape. See that? Larger end, smaller end. It's made of stainless steel, I believe. And the idea being that you can either fill this with charcoal or put charcoal around it while it sits in the kettle grill to do both indirect cooking and some high intensity direct cooking where all the heat is concentrated. And today, that's what I'm going to be doing. I want to use this to create a very concentrated column of heat, which is going to heat up my cast iron pan on the kettle grill. I want to use that to try and really sear some hamburgers and see how well it does. Now, for those of you who've used cast iron to do things like that, you know if you do it inside and you try and get that pan really hot, as soon as you start searing, you create an immense amount of smoke. That's part of the great thing about cast iron. But doing it outside on a burner on a barbecue or other propane burners and things like that, sometimes you don't get the BTUs, the thermal energy needed to get that super hot. Sometimes you can. But over a charcoal fire, especially one that is concentrated, I know you can get an immense amount of heat. So that's what I want to try and do today, to use this Vortex to create that, column of heat, which is just going to really superheat that cast iron pan. We'll test it, we'll cook a hamburger, and see how it comes out. In upcoming episodes, I'm going to be testing this with different methods. There are a lot of videos on YouTube about how people use this, and I have some specific things that I want to try. But I'd encourage you, if you're interested in maybe picking one of these up, to look at those other videos and see how people do chicken wings and things like that. There's some great videos out there. I purchased this, I believe, from barbecuesmokermods.com. And there's many other places to purchase this online. I'll put a link where I got it in the description. But there's also different sizes. There's medium, small, large. And this is a size, I believe, for my 22-inch Weber Kettle grill. That's why I picked this and why I'll be using this today. So I have the Vortex inverted with the wide end facing upward in my Weber Kettle. I have the cooking grate removed so I can get this set up. You notice off to the side there's some old charcoal, which still has some life in it, but I'm not going to be using that. I want to use fresh charcoal for this test today. And what I want to do is I want to figure out the volume of charcoal that this can hold, roughly. And then I'm going to transfer that to the charcoal chimney to light it. And then I will turn this back over so that the narrow end is facing upward. And I will fill it with the lit charcoal from the chimney. So let's see how much charcoal this will hold. Okay, so that's a fair amount, and I'm going to transfer that to the chimney now and get it lit. Okay, so there was probably a quicker way to do that, but that's why I sped it up. So I couldn't fit quite all of it in the charcoal chimney. I don't want to overload it. It doesn't do any good. It'll just spill out the top. I left the remaining coals in the bottom here, and that will sort of hopefully feed that charcoal fire a little bit more once they're all lit and poured into the Vortex. So now I'm going to get it lit and hopefully we'll be cooking pretty soon. All right, our chimney's lit. Just got to wait for all those coals to catch. Okay, the charcoal chimney is right where I want it, so I'm going to get these coals in here. I don't like to let the chimney go to where the very top layer of coals are already fully ignited and red hot or white hot with that ash on them. I like there to be a little bit more fuel left because the ones at the bottom are already pretty well burned. Okay, so we have our coals in the charcoal chimney. I'm going to get the grate on there, and I'm going to use a device to measure some temps here before we put the cast iron pan on and once we put it on. Okay, so I'm going to be using it's an infrared temperature gauge. You've probably seen these. They're actually really handy for a lot of things. And I want to try and use this to measure the temperature not only of the coals there, it's more important I want to get the cast iron pan once I get it on. So let's see if we can see what the temperature just right down there of the coals are. High, which means it's reading over 1,000 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and get the cast iron pan on there and let's get it heated up. I'm going to position it directly over. I might have to slide it a little bit with that there. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, so the cast iron pan is positioned pretty much directly over the Vortex. And I'm going to take my first temperature reading. Might be hard to see for you, but I'll try and show. Okay, the pan is showing at 290 degrees and rising. So we're going to give it probably 4 or 5 minutes to heat up and see how hot we can get this. Okay, so I shifted the pan to the side for a few minutes here. I just want to make sure that Vortex has a good airflow, not only through the bottom vents of the Weber kettle, but to allow it to come out the top. You can see there's not a lot of clearance between that and the cooking grate, and I don't want to choke off the fire by having the pan directly over it continually. So we'll move it back when it's time to cook, and we're ready to measure the top temp. I'm guessing probably another 3 or 4 minutes. Our pan temp right now is about 580-ish. Okay, we're showing like 660, 670 in the pan. I'm gonna get my burger on there and see how well this pan works over that Vortex. So what I have is just about a 1/3 pound hamburger here with just salt and pepper on the outside, because that's how I like it. This is the kind of smoke you would get if you were doing this inside. That's why it's nice to be able to use a cast iron outside. That smoke is great. I'm getting a good sear on this. But inside the house, I would be dealing with a lot of smoke, and I don't know that my vent fan over the stove would keep up. And I don't even know if I could get the pan this hot there over the burner. This is, pretty hot. It's about 670, I think it was, in the last measurement. And let this go for a few minutes on this side before I flip it. That is a very hot pan. All right, we got a good crust. I'm gonna flip it now. Look at that crust we have on there. Cast iron is just wonderful to cook in. That is just a beautiful looking burger right now. Give this another flip here. Let that keep cooking. Let's build that crust up while we get the internal temp up to what we want it. Okay, so now that I have my good crust on here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try the other part of the Vortex, which is the indirect method. So I'm gonna take it out of the cast iron pan, put it on the regular cooking grate, not over the coals, and close it up and see what happens. I can tell you this pan is incredibly hot. I'm gonna have to double up on protection here to get this off. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is put the burger right there, and we're gonna put the lid on. Vents wide open. Check this in about 5 minutes and see where we are. Might be hard to see in this light, but the internal temp of the Weber kettle is maxed. It's past 600 degrees. It's probably a little too hot, but that Vortex with all that concentrated charcoal is just pumping that heat out. So far, very impressed with the Vortex. Just checked the internal temperature, and this burger is done. I'm gonna get it off here, close this up, shut the vents down to smother these coals, because I'll be able to reuse these several times. Look at that, it's a beautiful, beautiful burger. What I have here is a plain hamburger bun that I'm gonna put this burger on. Just simple. Like I said, on the burger, all it has is salt and pepper, and I just love a good, plain, well-cooked burger where you can taste the meat and a little bit of the seasoning. I also like every once in a while to pile stuff on, but for this, I just want to taste it because it's good crust. Oh, look at that. It's a good-looking burger. Okay, it was warm out there doing this, and that charcoal fire and that Vortex was hot. So let's see if this was worth it. I think it was. That's it. Just a little bit on the medium side of medium rare. I like it like this. That crust that you get using the cast iron pan is unbeatable. I'm still amazed sometimes how a simple burger with nothing else on it but a little seasoning can just taste so incredibly good. So I have to say, after this first test of that Vortex, I'm impressed. Created a really intense column of heat under that cast iron pan. You saw the smoke, you saw the crust that I was able to get. That worked really well for what I intended it to do. And then to be able to shift the burger onto the cooking grate away from the direct heat and get that indirect cooking right after you did the direct. That's a very useful feature of that Vortex. Now, using the Vortex in the direct cooking there in that intense column of heat, you could throw right on the cooking grate and get amazing results. But I wanted to use the cast iron and get that cast iron crust on this burger. I'll be doing some more tests of the Vortex as time goes on, and I'll make sure you get to see those. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.